Welcome to the Know Your Legacy podcast. I'm your host, Vipul Basanya, and today's guest is Raul Villacis. Raul is an entrepreneur, author, speaker, and the founder of the Next Level Experience. He's written a chapter in Steve Forbes' book, and according to Wall Street Journal, has one of the fastest growing real estate companies in America. He's been featured in Entrepreneur Magazine, New York Times, and the list goes on and on. Raul, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you having me on your show.
Most definitely, man. So first off, what is the Next Level Experience for those who don't know?
Well, the Next Level Experience is a project that was created about 5 years ago. Actually, this week, 5 years ago, I was planning my first event. And V, you and I were talking before, and you were telling me that, you were in London, right? And I remember about 5 years ago, I was in London. I was with Tony Robbins, and I was actually pitching him to create a more of an experience event in the marketplace. And I remember having the conversation with Tony, and Tony was like, let's do it. Let's create a project together. But then I decided that I wanted to do it on my own. I decided to put my first event. And 5 years ago today, I was preparing to put my first event in Las Vegas at the Wynn Hotel. And I had no experience being a speaker, had no experience being a coach, and no experience being in stage. I was a real estate investor. I own a brokerage. And all of a sudden, I got this idea to put a mastermind together or give people an experience that goes beyond just personal development, beyond just networking, where they could have a deeper breakthrough or an awakening. So the Next Level Experience has been a project I've been working for the last 5 years and has evolved into a business/men's mastermind. So right now we have over 100 businessmen that are making over 7 figures in the group, and every single one of them has what I call the edge. So that goes with my experience of when I lost the edge and going through my ups and downs of business. And V, I'm sure you can relate that most of us as men, we don't have anywhere to go when we feel uncertain, when we feel like we're a failure, because as men, we were taught and conditioned to man up, right? And to figure shit out.
Yeah.
So I saw there was a gap in the market. I saw that was a need for a men's mastermind. And I looked at all the personal development programs out there. 80% of the personal development programs are being attended by women, and women have the support system. But I felt like the businessman, the men, we didn't have the support system where we could actually have real conversations, real breakthroughs, and talk about business, relationships, spirituality, and fitness at the same time without feeling weird.
You mentioned that the whole project was, I guess, created or born out of the fact that you felt like you lost your edge. Like, tell us a little bit about that. Like, what is the edge, and what did you feel was missing?
Well, I think the edge is when somebody has that drive, has that ambition, has that desire. I mean, when you start a business, when you start a new relationship, when you start a new project, you have that energy, you have that determination to see things through. And as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, all of us can relate that we have an edge at some point in our lives to start a business. Otherwise, we wouldn't start a business. But I think somewhere along the line where failure comes in, when disappointment comes in, and the idea that we're not where we should be, we start losing that edge little by little. We start losing that feeling of being the driver. So I call that going into the tunnel. So in the past, people have labeled it as the midlife crisis. You see guys in their 50s or in the 60s getting divorced, burning their business to the ground and going through a crisis because they don't know how to handle losing that drive. So they're looking for cars, money, sex, anything to give them that feeling again. So as I started doing my research, because I went through my 30s. So I went through a midlife crisis in my 30s. And even though I had a thriving business, I felt like I didn't have a purpose. I felt like I wasn't really making a difference. I was just making money. So instead of really looking for something to create an impact, I started drinking. And I started drinking every single day, and mainly because I was having physical pain. It was a stress situation. My body was giving me feedback, and I was stressed out. That's the reason I went into my journey. And I spent about 5 years looking to see if I could heal myself out of the physical pain. I ended up in India. I ended up in Fiji doing a lot of health retreats. And everything came down to one simple concept, the rite of passage. As a man, we have to have the rite of passage. And I believe the tunnel or the midlife crisis is the rite of passage to finding your edge.
Yeah, I love that topic, the rite of passage, because it's something that I think a lot of us, we have the call to go through it, but we either avoid it or we go through it and we quit halfway because it's too difficult. We don't realize that the pain that we're going through, it's there for a purpose, but we don't see that at the time. And so we don't think that there's any value to it. We think it's a hindrance in our life, when actually it's helping you create the character to then tackle whatever it is you need to tackle, the mission or the event that's going to come to you thereafter. So I guess for you, would you say it was going through those 5 years to eventually then create the next level experience?
So let me put it this way. We come from, like, as men, we're tribal men, right? Like in our ancestor, they had a tribe. Like when we were growing up, maybe, I mean, when they were growing up, maybe in the wilderness, right, in London, when there was all, the tribes, if you wanted to be a king, you had to prove yourself that you were worthy of being the leader, right? Right, V?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
So what happens is that back in the days, there was ways to prove that you could be the leader. Meaning, like if you were in a tribe, they pretty much said, okay, do you want to lead this tribe, V? Now here's the knife, or here's the sword. Go into the wilderness and kill the wolf. And then if you come back with the wolf, then you have paid the price to lead, right? So as men, we forget those rituals. We forget those rite of passages. So now you have men now that we forgot how to hunt. We forgot how to stay how to stand up against adversity, because now we don't have to pay the price anymore. Everything that we have is very convenient. We have an app in our phones that we could get us, a date. We have an app in our phones that gives us food. We have an app in our phones that gives us pretty much anything we want. But yet, in business or in life, we have to face adversity, especially when you want to be a leader, in order for you to become a leader. So I look at my tunnel as the rite of passage, the price that I had to pay in order for me to become a leader, because I had to make a choice. Do I want to be just this real estate guy making money, or do I want to make a difference? Do I focus on income, or do I want to create an impact? And it's a tough decision for most men to make, because most of us, we just want to make money. We just want to just stay and be comfortable. But if you have the desire to be a leader, you have the desire to make an impact, you have that desire to do something more, that is the edge that I'm talking about. And not everyone has it. Not everyone has that edge, because it's a calling. Is not just I'm gonna be an entrepreneur, I'm gonna drive this, I'm gonna make some money. No, it's more of an impact. And men who have the edge, they have to go through ups and downs. They have to pay the price. They have to go through adversity in order to find themselves, who they truly are. Because the mistake that I made was thinking that my business was my identity. Like the money that I had was my identity. So the moment that I lost it all, because the crash came in the US and it took a lot of my assets, and then I had to find myself at that moment where I had nothing. And I think that's the moment that I made a decision that my business is not going to define who I am. So at that moment, I wouldn't say I lost that edge. Those circumstances empower me to find the edge. I started losing the edge once I started getting comfortable. And I think that's what kills most entrepreneurs, is being in the comfort zone.
So let me ask you this then. So how do we, or as entrepreneurs that are listening, how do they make sure that they don't lose that edge?
So one thing you have to understand, that you have to be around people that will sharpen that edge. Meaning, if you're an entrepreneur and you're around people who are constantly kissing your ass and praising you and saying that you're the best, I mean, that's not sharpening your edge. That is actually just hinder you from seeing some of the things that you're not doing. So you have to be around people that challenge you, people that actually call you on your shit, people that actually are testing you, and not yes people. So that's one thing, association. And I talk about this all the time. You are who you hang around with. And if you are the leader of your pack and you hang around with a bunch of people that are just saying yes to every single idea, yes to everything that you're that you're doing and you're the best in your group, you need to be around other people that push you. The second thing is you have to be accountable. You have to be able to see what's the accountability, what are my actions, what are the actions that I'm doing, what's the accountability factor. I think that a lot of people who are into personal development or growth, we don't have any accountability. We buy a course, we spend some money, but nobody's holding us accountable for actually taking action. I was one of them. I may not have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of courses. I didn't even open up the book. I went to the seminar and I bought this and I never opened up the book. So there's no accountability. So you have to be having somebody hold you accountable to a higher standard. Again, it goes back to association. And the second is constantly sharpening your action plan. I talk about creating a life 100 days at a time. You know, I have a vision, and my vision continues to expand, but my goals are not long term; they're short terms, 100 days at a time. I've lived my life for the past 5 years, 100 days at a time, and that's when I'm able to expand faster because I'm not looking the next 12 months where I'm going to be. I'm actually taking action right now of where am I going to be the next 100 days. So by sharpening your edge is you keep your vision, but you work on the short-term plan. A lot of people, what we do is we have these vision boards and these goals, and then one day I'm going to do this, one day I'm going to achieve this, and one day never comes because we don't have a short-term action plan. 100 days at a time, that will keep you sharp and focused. You'll know exactly whether you're winning or whether you're losing. You're accountable for your actions. You have somebody holding you accountable. You have an association that keeps you at a higher standard, that calls you on your shit, and that's how you keep your edge. Association, accountability, and action plan.
I love that, yeah, because you're not forgetting the long term vision, but then you've got checkpoints along the way to make sure that you're heading in the right direction at all times. So no, that makes a lot of sense. Could you give some examples, if you can, of maybe one or two people that stand out to you in terms of they came in to the next level experience having lost their edge, they were lost in life, that they didn't feel like they were doing much, and then how they left after the experience?
Well, I'll tell you right now, 5 years ago when I started putting this program together, I had no idea what I was going to do. I didn't want to become a coach. I didn't want to become a speaker. I just wanted to be around people that get me. I don't know if you can relate, V. There's not a lot of people that think like us, especially 5 years ago. Social media wasn't as powerful as it is right now. So there was it was a small community. I was part of multiple masterminds. I was part of multiple groups, but I wanted to be part of a group of entrepreneurs that actually made shit happen. They were not just talking about making shit happen. So that was the first event. So the first year, I lost a lot of money trying to find my message, trying to find out, who I want in my group. So after 1 year of research, pretty much, research development, I figured out that my niche is being around men who have that edge, right? And you can buy the edge. You can, you could learn it, you could develop it. But if you have it, you know it. If you don't have it, you know you want it. You can't. Like, there's no such thing as fake. Like, you could fake the edge, but long term, you will know whether you have the drive or you don't have the drive, right? So then the last 4 years, I've been putting together this mastermind group. And I remember the first year when I actually selected a handful of guys to work with me, there was one guy in particular that comes to my mind. His name is Mark Jewell. Mark Jewell, he says, Raul, I want you to coach me one-on-one. And I want you to teach me, what the edge is and how to have the edge. And at this level of the game, I was charging $100,000 to work with me one-on-one. And the reason I threw out that number is because I was making money in real estate. It wasn't that I wasn't making any money in real estate. I had to figure it out. How do I get paid the same amount of money that I was making in real estate for me to invest my time on people? Because the reason that I want to be a coach is because I had this belief that a lot of coaches were coaches because they couldn't make it in business. For me, it wasn't that case. I was making money in real estate. I was successful in real estate. So when I became a coach, it was a choice. It wasn't because I had to. It was a choice. So I took this guy as my first client, Mark Jewell, who was making $40,000 a year. And he had a training business for corporations. And I said, shit, he's committed to pay me $100,000 a year. And now I need to help him level up his game. So we started coaching and we started dissecting his patterns, because that's what I believe, that every single one of us, we have a code, we have a blueprint. And our job as coaches, as trainers, as mentors is to not to tell people what to do, but to help them dissect their own code, their behavior, their patterns. So I saw a pattern that actually stopped him from actually owning his own value. and his pattern was in his relationship. And once we started working his relationship, his business started to grow, because how we show up in a relationship is a direct reflection of how we show up in our business. So little by little, we worked in his relationship. I taught him a process that I teach until today. Actually, I'm coming up with an app, and I have a book coming up in the February of 2019 that teaches this system, which is the ritual. I have a reset system that I teach to be able to reprogram your mind, to reprogram your subconscious mind, because now it's not just about mindset, it's about more of reprogramming your subconscious mind. So I give him this exercise to do every single day, and every single day he'll wake up, he'll do this exercise that will reset his mind, and within 100 days, he was able to make his first $100,000. Now, he was making $40,000 a year. Now, one of days he made $100,000. And I continue to help him adjust, adapt, and execute, working his marriage, working his fitness, reprogram his mind, and go through what I call the 7 points, the 7 key system, the 7 key habits of a king. I actually have in my book, I'll explain a little bit more about that. But he followed that system for a year, for a year. And in 1 year, he was able to make $1 million. He went from $40,000 to making $1 million in his business because he followed the system. Now, I didn't tell him what to do in his business. I didn't coach him how to level. He already knew that. So that's what one of the things that I know is that as an entrepreneur, you know your business more than most people know your business. What we need to do is help you look at the things that you cannot see. What are the patterns? He didn't realize that his relationship was hindering him from making more money. He didn't know that his fitness was related to making more money, having more energy. He didn't know that his subconsciously was sabotaging his money. So that's the one case study that I always talk about. Is from 40 to $1 million. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of one-on-one. It was a lot of hand-holding. I wanted to fire him like 20 times during the year. He wanted to quit 20 more times. So it was kind of like a love-hate relationship for the first year. But after working the first year, I mean, he's been with me for the past 4 years, one of my first clients. And after that, I have over 100 clients that I'm working with right now. And every single one of them is following this system and this process to just become a machine to dissect your patterns. I believe that everything leaves clues. So your pattern is telling you exactly what you need to do to level up.
So how can people understand their own pattern? Can they do it without a coach like you, or do they have to find someone who can call them out on their current blueprint?
The easy way would be to find somebody that will hold them accountable. That if you don't have the resources to find a coach, there's 2 books that I recommend. Number 1 is the book called Outwitting the Devil. And the Outwitting the Devil talks about Napoleon Hill wrote this book almost 100 years ago, and it talks about the drift. And I believe that a lot of us, we are in a drift. We're in the hypnotic rhythm. We've been drifting through life thinking that everything is not our fault. So the moment that you start realizing that you've been hypnotized by the culture, by the media, maybe by your parents, and you want to choose to get out of the hypnotic rhythm, you have to become aware of your triggers or your patterns. So the book talks a little bit about what Napoleon Hill talks about, being hypnotized by the devil, right? And not to be religious or anything, but that book is a conversation with the devil. So if you're not a religious person, and I'm not trying to tell you between God and the devil, but I am telling you that subconsciously we are programmed by the culture. So if you want to get out of that drift, you have to become more aware of what causes these drifts. The second one that I recommend is Stealing Fire. Stealing Fire talks about multiple processes to get into the flow state. Get into the flow state is through meditation, through awareness. So the one thing I will suggest, if you don't have the resources to find a coach or to find somebody that will help you, is take 3 minutes of meditating every single day. 3 steps: 1 minute of gratitude, 1 minute of visualization. What's possible if you don't have any problems. And the third one is just a meditation of creating energy in your body by just getting excited about the possibilities. So this is a process that I teach. It's a more detailed process. But a process that I teach is gratitude, energy, and visualization. Those 3 things will change your subconscious, the chemicals your brain that's what your subconscious mind feeds on. in order for you to create a different perspective. So 3-minute meditation, you start reading something that inspires you every single day. You work out and you feed your body. You connect with people that you love. You continue to enhance your skills based on your work or your passion, and then you connect every single day with a higher self, whether it's God, this spiritual being, or the universe, whatever you believe in. I believe that's the steps that we have to take in order for us to go to the next level.
I love that, because it sounds like from what you're telling me with your clients and with yourself, it's all about expanding in all areas, not just one. Because I think that's, from the sounds of it, that's the mistake people make. For example, money. Okay, let me expand, do everything I can. You make the money and you think, then you realize I've left everything else behind. Like, I haven't worked on anything else. I'm on my own. When if you move everything together and have a vision for each separate compartment, then one day you wake up and you think, now I've got everything I want. I guess that's what you're getting at.
So V, I wish, we have a non-disclosure with my clients, so I will never talk about my clients unless they give me authorization to talk about them. But I wish I could tell you so many stories that I have of guys who are making millions and millions of dollars, and they are ready to fucking just, that's it, it's done. Like there's no purpose. Money is necessary for you to make an impact. Money is necessary for you to create to create an empire. But money is not going to solve all your problems. Like, if you have money right now, it's probably going to expand all the problems. And that's the reason that people who win the lottery, they all of a sudden they become broke again, because the rooted beliefs never change. But if you start thinking about money as energy, right? Love as energy, life as energy. What does life want? What does love want? What does money want? If you look at love, life, and money, they all want to expand. Like, money wants to be in everyone's pocket. Love wants to be in everyone's heart. Life wants to expand, to grow up. So if you're looking at expansion, really what you're saying is the reason that you're not expanding, the reason that we're having money problems is because we refuse to expand. We contract. We said, this little bit right here, I'm going to hold on to it, so I'm not going to give it. Same thing with love. I'm not going to open up my heart because I don't want to give it to this person because they're going to hurt me. Same thing with life. We want to live on the past. We want to continue to focus on who we were and the mistakes. So we refuse to expand. If we just allow ourselves to expand and said, okay, you know what? I'm evolving. I'm going to forgive myself for all the stupid shit I did in the past. I'm going to give myself the permission to evolve today and be a creator. I'm going to stop complaining about the money situation. I'm going to start giving, because life will only give you what you're willing to give life. I'm going to continue to expand and allow life to work through me, as opposed to me trying to control everything. That's the expansion. And the mistake that we make is that we think that money is the only thing that we have as a problem. But I tell you right now, there's a lot more millionaires out there that are depressed as fuck, and they don't have all the answers.
That's why I asked you, exactly, because so many people just say that they think that money is going to solve everything, and it doesn't. It's a big chunk of helping you move to the next level, but it's all about your perspective on money and what it can do for you. It can't be the only thing, So I know we're running out of time, so I'm going to get into the final few questions, but I wish we had some more time just to dig into that bit. So the first question is, with everything you know now, the adventure you've been on, the journey, the wisdom, everything that you've experienced, is there anything different you'd tell the 18-year-old Raul?
Absolutely no, man. I have no regrets I have no regrets, but yet, I feel that if there's one thing that I would do different, is cherish the relationships that I built. And unfortunately, as you grow into in your business and your marriage, your life, it's almost impossible for you to keep every single relationship intact. And unfortunately, you live in a culture, and if I'm from Latin America, right? So my breakthrough was I had to break through my culture. And that means that some people may not see you the way that you want to grow. There's more people, family, friends, that want to keep you the same way that you were before, because they're afraid of either losing you, or they're afraid that they may have to change, or they're afraid of, like, shit, if this guy goes to the next level, then does that mean that I have to go to the next level? So my breakthrough was pretty much by force. Like I was taking no for an answer. I wasn't a breakthrough no matter what. I wasn't a breakthrough the condition and breaking through who I was. And unfortunately, when you break through and you don't have anybody to guide you, because I didn't have anybody to guide me how to keep this, I broke some relationships that I wish now looking back, you know, friends and family members that I wish I would have handled a different way. But I don't have any regrets because I know like the 40-year Raul right now is thinking like, shit, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done this. Like I could have done it in a different way. But I'm still hopeful that the 50, the 60-year Raul could look back and say it needed to happen because that person needed to grow as well, because you gave that person the gift. So I can't say that I regret anything. All I'm saying is if I had it my way, I could have done things a little bit different. But I know at the end of the day, I'm just playing the long game. And I believe that everything happens for the purpose of expansion. And it may not be the way you want it. It may not be the way I want it, but life is going to expand regardless.
I love that. Yeah, it's all about thinking of life happening for you and not to you, you know. So it's moving from that victim mentality to a victor mentality. So the second question is, if there's one statement that you could write, any statement that you'd want to write that goes into a time capsule for generations from now to read, what's the one statement you'd like them to read?
The one statement, I always tell this to my son. My son is going to turn 13. Is never stop being curious. Never stop being curious. Never, like my wife kids around with me because like I'm like a little kid. Like I act like a little kid. When I'm at home, I'm a little kid. Like I think that curiosity, that childlike mentality of constantly looking what's possible, what can you do, how can you go to the next level. So never lose that curiosity, never lose that drive, that hunger that you had at the beginning of anything, whether it's a beginning of a relationship, a beginning of a business, a beginning of a project. Just keep that excitement and figure out how to keep that long term.
I love that. Yeah. And the final question is, with everything that you know now and everything that you're going to learn, you come to the end of your life, whatever age that might be, you've lived a long and healthy life. What's the legacy Raul hopes to leave behind?
People. My grandfather just recently passed away, and he passed away with all his kids surrounding him. His wife was there holding his hand. His kids were there holding his hand. At the end, it wasn't about the money. It wasn't about the business. It wasn't about anything. It was just about people. So at the end, the legacy is me making this world a better place by through people. That's the reason that's why I was able to make the shift, because I was an asset manager in real estate. And I continue to manage some assets now, but I became more of a people's manager now, or managing their expansion, helping men lead, helping men become a better leader. And I know that if I help one man become a better leader, I will impact thousands, because one leader is equivalent to 1,000 people. His family, his kids, generations will be impacted by the work that we do now.
Yeah, that's deep. I love that. So no, thank you so much for taking the time to share today. You've shared a lot of golden nuggets in the space of 30 minutes. If people want to follow your journey and see what you're up to in the coming months and years, how do they do that?
Well, first thing you could go is iTunes, Spotify, The Daily Edge with Raul Villacis. I'll give you daily insights. My podcasts are really quick, 3 to 4 minutes. Usually is a quick rant of what I'm going through. So The Daily Edge is one way you get a hold of me and kind of keep me in your ear. And every single day I'll send you a voicemail letting you know how to keep the edge. A second one is my podcast with my wife, God, Money, and Sex. We have a podcast that we broadcast every single week, God, Money, and Sex. So we talk about relationships, we talk about God, we talk about money, we talk about the trilogy of how to have that integration of God, Money, and Sex. And then the third one is thenextlevelexperience.com. That's where you will find all the information about my boot camps, my masterminds, my events. And hopefully one day I'll get a chance to go to the UK and put a boot camp there. I know that the UK guys need this as well. So we're going to kick some ass over there.
Oh, 100%, man. Keep us informed. But, thank you so much. We definitely need to do this again. And I wish you all the best.
Awesome, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.